Hello retro gamers, and welcome to the first video where I try and mod something. Today's mod is the Sega Master System version 2, and I'm modding it to have Composite out because the first Master System had Composite out, but unfortunately the Master System 2, probably as a cost-cutting measure by Sega, only has an RF out, and RF out's for peasants. So today I'm going to drill some holes and solder some things together, and hopefully by the end of it we'll have composite out ports. Okay, so here's the circuit diagram for how I am going to be carrying out the mod. Not my circuit diagram, I should point out straight away. This has been pulled from an excellent website I found called Stick Freaks. But it's pretty basic. On the inside of the Master System there is a Sony chip, and that is the video chip. And even though the Master System doesn't have video out, which is the reason why we're doing this mod, one of the pins, pin 20, does support composite out. So basically we just have to solder in a 75 ohm resistor and a 220 microfarad capacitor in line with basically just a video out port, and then that goes to ground, and voila, you have video out. For audio, it's even simpler. It actually only supports a mono out, but what we're going to do is we're going to split the line, and yeah, basically it's just going to be a wire coming from the pin there, splitting, and then going to 2 ports each, and then both of those are going to ground. The 2 grounds, I mean there's grounds all over the place, but I'm going to use one of these. Both pins 24 and pins 1 are both grounds. So I'm going to show you the parts that you need. So here is the Master System, obviously. Here is my various lengths of wire, and here is just a selection of stuff. I've already pulled out of the screws. I'll show you how to disassemble the Master System in a moment. But here are just the composite out ports. Obviously you need 3 of these, color coded preferably, just so there's no mix up when you're actually plugging the plugs in. There's my 75 ohm resistor, and there's my 220 microfarad capacitor. That one looks a bit danky because I just pulled it off a motherboard, but that's a good message. Recycle parts if you can, even though, you know, a lot of these parts, a lot of these have all been bought from JCar, which is a local electronics store in Australia. I mean, I think these, you know, are $1 something each. You can buy 8 of those for 50 cents, and I didn't buy one of those, but I'm pretty sure they're under 50 cents as well. And the wire, I mean, you know, it's wired. It doesn't really cost anything either. Now, first off, you'll need to pull apart the Master System, and this is probably the easiest part. There's no special screws or anything like that, like there is with the Master System. Basically, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screw holes, and these are just your standard little Phillip head screws. Very simple to get out. Once those are pulled out, it simply just comes up, and then you have an RF shield. The RF shield has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws, and that just pops out. And I'm actually not gonna put this back in. I probably should. It's to stop RF interference. I did about 5 minutes of research, and it seems like it's mandatory in some countries but not others, but I'm not going to be using RF out anyway, so that was dramatic. I didn't expect it to bounce off the couch there. And then lastly, when you get to the actual, well actually you've gotten to the motherboard now, well done, but now we need to actually pull the motherboard out, because I'm going to start off by drilling some holes in there for these little composite ports. So that's pretty simple as well. You've got 2 screw holes on either side of the cartridge slot, and you have another screw near the voltage regulator up there, and I feel like there was another one. No, maybe not. However, there was like a little tab here, which you just I've just sort of plucked open with a flat-headed screwdriver, and then that comes out. And don't throw this across the room like the RF shield, because yeah, it'll probably break. So we'll put that there for the second. There is another RF shield in there. That just pops out. It's not being held in by anything. So yeah, I'm going to start by drilling the composite port holes first, because it's the thing I want to do the least, and I just want to get it out of the way. Generally speaking, you just use like a normal drill. I don't have one of those, so I'm using one of these. This is just a cheap little drill, but I'm using 2 pieces. That one there is just the, let's just get a little bit closer there. I'm just going to use those to make the initial holes, and then I'm sort of going to use this more thicker one just to sort of round it out, so then I can screw the composite port into it. On the actual, sorry, This is a bit awkward. I need to, oh man, let's do it like this. Alright, those are probably not going to come up at all. I have just marked some points there with the pen. I've basically just spaced them 2 centimeters apart and just try to make sure that they're relatively straight. I guess it doesn't really matter if they're a little bit wonky, except for the fact that you know, it just won't look good. So yeah, I'm gonna drill those in now. Wish me luck. If you hear some screeching in the background, don't be alarmed. There's some possums in my freaking ceiling, and yeah, they're making a lot of noise, but I'm about to make a lot more noise than them. Maybe. You're not gonna believe this, but I drilled the holes on the wrong side. I guess I was turning it around when I was marking it. I didn't realize that the holes actually needed to be over here, but for some reason I drew them here. It was a long day at work today. So now I have some additional air holes, I guess. God, I'm a dumbass. Take 2, gonna remark it and just do it right with my extra little air holes and my possums up in the ceiling. So before long, before you've made enough mess, you should have a hole big enough that you can screw the composite port into. Like so. So yeah, this makes a lot of mess, and the plastic when it's cut up smells like farts, but that's okay. 2 more to do, and basically as far as I'm concerned, this will be the hardest part of the project over. Okay, so thankfully all the drilling is complete. I'm pretty glad, because like I've said, it honestly was the thing I wasn't looking forward to. And as you can see here, it's I think it's come out quite cleanly, besides from those 2, let's just call them practice holes, or air holes, or speed holes, or whatever you want to call them. Just forget about those. These are the completed beauties. And I think that will, aesthetically wise, I think that will go in quite nicely. And if we just have another look on the other side here, each one is secured in by a nut and then also a little tab which acts as the ground, and also these little things here. That's what you solder the signal line to. Yep. So what I'm going to do now is solder some parts together in preparation for soldering to the chip. And I guess while I'm here, I guess I'll point out the chip. That guy there. So yeah, I'll see you in the next jump cut, I guess. Okay, so I finished the first part, which basically entailed me soldering the resistor and the capacitor up to the plug there and to the relevant point of the chip. And I've also just hastily put in a ground there just so I can test to see if that's working. Now that won't be the final ground, I'll make it look a little bit neater on finish. But anyway, let's test it. I've got a little monitor here, so we'll turn that on. And then I'll turn this on and we shall see if it will work. You ready for this? Hey! We have Sega. Repeat, we have Sega. And Alex the Kid. Which is of course built into the Master System. So that's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy that's working. Now I just have to solder together the well, I have to solder in the audio plugs now and finish off the ground. I do have to cut and strip some more wires because these aren't simply going to cut it, they're too short. So yeah, now I shall do that. Alright, okie dokie, I've finished up the rest of the wiring. As you can see here, I've got the audio coming from that pin there. The cable splits into 2 and goes to each plug. And then I've also just done a bit of a tidy up there. I've got a ground going across all the grounds there, then eventually coming up to that ground wire there and going back to the one ground, so I don't have like a million wires going back to ground. So what I do know is that with all the messing around with the ground wires, it still does work, which is a-okay. Although I'm not yet sure if the actual the actual audio works yet. So I'll have to actually plug it into the TV and find out. And next time I do something like this, I'll have some speakers at the ready on the table, so I don't sort of have to leave the work area. So yeah, let's plug it into the TV and see what happens. Okay, so it's all hooked up and ready to go. I just want to add, the reason I removed the RF shield before, just in case you're wondering, is because basically the ports are going to be above where the RF shield would usually go, and all the wiring and a couple of the components that are used in this project would need to be below it. So since I'm not using the RF modulator anyway, I thought, stuff it. In the bin it goes. So yeah, that's it, just in case you're wondering. But you probably want the grand reveal. Let's see if it works. Oh, we got a bop. Ooh. Hey, music to my ears. So just remember, this isn't actually true stereo. It's actually mono, really just divided into two channels, but that's fine. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap up the video now. There's not much point in me showing me putting the Sega Master System back together. That'd be a bit boring. So yeah, if you enjoyed this type of video, please let me know. I'd be very willing to do more of this sort of thing in the future, and I actually do have a project lined up. So yeah, that's it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.